Imagine waking up to a world where the air is heavy with smoke, skies are painted in ominous shades of gray, and homes, entire lives, are reduced to ashes in the blink of an eye. The recent wildfires in California have left an indelible mark, not just on the land but on the hearts of those affected. This tragedy is more than just a news headline, it's a powerful reminder of our responsibility to our planet, our communities, and ultimately, to ourselves. Today, we're diving deep into a pressing issue that impacts us all. This isn't just about wildfires, it's about the interconnectedness of environmental stewardship, faith, and humanity's role in shaping the future. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear could change not only your perspective but also your actions. And by the end of this video, you'll understand how these events serve as both a warning and a call to action. If you're new here, welcome. This channel is a growing community where we explore topics that challenge, inspire, and ignite meaningful change. Our mission is clear: to build awareness, foster dialogue, and offer hope in the face of adversity. Your support matters. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and join our journey to reach 1,000 subscribers. Together, we can spread messages that truly matter. And now, let's delve into the story behind the flames, the lessons they carry and the urgent action they demand from all of us. The California wildfires that began on January 7, 2025, represent more than a natural disaster, they are a stark wake-up call. These fires have already scorched over 36,680 acres, displacing 180,000 people and tragically claiming at least 24 lives. Behind these numbers lies an overwhelming human story, a tale of families fleeing their homes with nothing but hope, leaving behind memories, possessions, and livelihoods. This devastation is not an isolated event. Wildfires of increasing intensity and frequency are becoming a global phenomenon. From Australia to the Amazon, these blazes are a symbol of a changing planet and humanity's strained relationship with the environment. Scientists and experts warn that these events are more than accidents. They're exacerbated by climate change, deforestation, and human negligence. As smoke blankets the skies, it carries not only particles but also a grim message: we are running out of time. For years, warnings about environmental degradation have been ignored or sidelined, and now we see the consequences burning before our very eyes. The intensity of these fires is a direct reflection of the imbalance we have caused in nature, but what makes these wildfires truly devastating is their ripple effect. Beyond the immediate destruction, they leave a scar on the land, the air, and the psyche of affected communities. The loss of biodiversity, the pollution of waterways, and the displacement of both humans and wildlife amplify the tragedy. Yet, amid this chaos, stories of resilience emerge. Communities band together, firefighters work tirelessly, and individuals open their homes to those in need. These acts of kindness remind us of the power of unity, even in the darkest times. It's in this resilience that we find hope for healing. This segment sets the stage for our deeper exploration. What are the root causes of these disasters? How can we, as individuals and communities, play a role in preventing them? More importantly, what lessons can we take from the ashes to build a better, more sustainable future? In times of crisis, humanity often turns to faith for answers. The wildfires raging across California bring to mind a powerful biblical image: creation groaning under the weight of humanity's actions. As stated in Romans 8 verse 22, the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. These words resonate deeply when we witness nature's suffering firsthand. Faith offers both comfort and a challenge during such events. Comfort, because it reminds us of God's presence in the midst of suffering. Challenge, because it calls us to examine our role as stewards of creation. Genesis 2 verse 15 reminds us of this divine mandate: to tend and keep the earth. Have we fulfilled this responsibility, or have we fallen short? The fires invite reflection on deeper questions of purpose and accountability. They force us to confront the reality that our actions, or inactions, have consequences. Pollution, deforestation, and disregard for ecological balance are not merely environmental issues, They are moral issues that reflect our stewardship of God's gifts. Faith communities have a unique role in times like these. They provide spiritual solace and practical aid, offering food, shelter, and hope to those displaced. But their role doesn't end there. They are also called to advocate for environmental justice and to model sustainable practices that honor creation. As flames consume forests and homes, they also ignite a spiritual awakening. They challenge us to reevaluate what truly matters and to place our trust in something greater than ourselves. For many, this is a moment to turn to God, seeking guidance, strength, and a renewed sense of purpose. Wildfires may seem like acts of destruction, but they can also be catalysts for renewal. Just as forests regenerate after a fire, so too can our faith and commitment to stewardship grow stronger. Let this be a moment not only of mourning but also of recommitment to living in harmony with creation. To fully understand the scale and frequency of today's wildfires, we must confront the role of climate change. Rising global temperatures, prolonged droughts, and extreme weather patterns create the perfect conditions for fires to ignite and spread uncontrollably. Scientists have long warned of this reality, and now it is impossible to ignore. California's wildfires are fueled by a combination of natural and human factors. The infamous Santa Ana winds, coupled with unusually dry conditions, have created a tinderbox ready to explode. These conditions are not anomalies, they are part of a broader trend linked to climate change. The science is clear. Increased greenhouse gas emissions have altered weather patterns, making dry regions even drier and storms more intense. The effects are particularly devastating for ecosystems already weakened by deforestation and overdevelopment. In many ways, these fires are a symptom of a planet under stress. Beyond the environmental impact, climate change also has profound social and economic consequences. Communities affected by wildfires face not only physical destruction but also long-term challenges, such as loss of jobs, healthcare burdens, and mental health crises. The financial toll of these disasters runs into billions, straining resources at every level. Yet, climate change is not an inevitable doom, it is a challenge we can address. Renewable energy, reforestation, and sustainable practices offer pathways to mitigate its effects. But these require collective action and the will to prioritize long-term solutions over short-term gains. This moment demands urgency. The fires raging today are a stark reminder of the cost of inaction. Every day we delay is a day closer to more intense and frequent disasters. The question is not whether we can afford to act, but whether we can afford not to. While the headlines often focus on the scale of destruction, the human stories behind the statistics are equally important. Wildfires displace families, destroy livelihoods, and leave emotional scars that linger long after the flames are extinguished. For many, rebuilding is a process that takes years. If it happens at all, evacuation shelters are filled with individuals who have lost everything. Children face the trauma of displacement, while parents grapple with the uncertainty of providing for their families. In such moments, the importance of community becomes evident. Neighbors help neighbors, strangers offer support, and the human spirit shines through adversity. The fires also reveal systemic inequalities. Marginalized communities often bear the brunt of these disasters, with limited access to resources and support. This underscores the need for policies that prioritize equity and ensure that aid reaches those who need it most. Amid the chaos, faith-based organizations play a pivotal role. Churches open their doors to provide shelter, food, and spiritual guidance. Volunteers step up to distribute supplies and offer a listening ear to those in distress. These acts of kindness embody the principle of loving one's neighbor, yet, the path to recovery is not without challenges. Insurance disputes, bureaucratic delays, and the emotional toll of starting over can leave survivors feeling overwhelmed. It is here that resilience and faith become crucial. By leaning on their communities and their beliefs, many find the strength to move forward. This crisis highlights the need for a proactive approach. Preparing for future disasters, supporting recovery efforts, and addressing the root causes of these fires are essential steps toward building a more resilient society. The flames may destroy, but they cannot extinguish the human spirit. The California wildfires are not an isolated event, they are part of a historical pattern of environmental disasters. From the Dust Bowl of the 1930s to the Australian bushfires of recent years, humanity has faced similar challenges. Each disaster carries lessons that can guide us in responding to today's crises. Historically, unchecked industrialization and resource exploitation have often been precursors to environmental catastrophes. The Dust Bowl, for instance, was exacerbated by poor agricultural practices that stripped the land of its resilience. Similarly, deforestation and urban sprawl have left many regions vulnerable to wildfires. The lesson is clear: when we disrupt the balance of nature, the consequences are inevitable. However, history also offers hope. The conservation movements of the past show that change is possible when societies unite for a common cause. From reforestation projects to the establishment of national parks, collective action has restored ecosystems and prevented further degradation. Today, we stand at a similar crossroads. The choices we make now will determine the future of our planet. Will we continue down a path of exploitation, or will we learn from the past and prioritize sustainability? The answer lies in our willingness to act with urgency and purpose. This moment also invites reflection on our relationship with nature. Indigenous cultures, for example, have long emphasized living in harmony with the earth. Their wisdom offers valuable insights into sustainable practices that respect and protect the environment. As we look to the future, let us remember the lessons of history. The challenges we face are immense, but they are not insurmountable. With determination, innovation, and unity, we can turn the tide and create a world where disasters like these are the exception, not the norm. The consequences of inaction on climate and environmental issues are starkly visible, not just in California, but around the globe. From record-breaking heat waves in Europe to devastating floods in Asia, the planet is sending distress signals. Wildfires are merely one aspect of a broader environmental crisis that demands immediate attention. The economic costs of these disasters are staggering. Billions of dollars are spent annually on disaster relief, recovery, and rebuilding efforts. Governments face immense strain, and insurance companies struggle to cover skyrocketing claims. The ripple effects extend to every sector, from agriculture to healthcare, as resources are diverted to address these crises. However, the most profound cost of inaction is the human one. Displaced families, destroyed communities, and lost lives paint a grim picture of what's at stake. Vulnerable populations, including the elderly, children, and low-income families, are disproportionately affected. This inequality underscores the urgent need for inclusive and equitable solutions. Globally, wildfires and other disasters exacerbate geopolitical tensions. As resources become scarcer, conflicts over water, land, and food are likely to increase. Migration driven by climate change is already reshaping demographics and straining international relations. These challenges demand collaboration across borders to ensure a sustainable future for all. But what would action look like? Investing in renewable energy, strengthening infrastructure, and implementing policies to reduce emissions are critical steps. International agreements like the Paris Accord provide frameworks, but their success depends on global commitment and accountability. The good news is that we still have a choice. Every decision we make today, from the energy we consume to the policies we support, shapes the future. The cost of inaction is far greater than the investments needed to address these challenges. The question is, will we act in time? Ultimately, the fight against environmental degradation requires a shift in perspective. It's not just about avoiding disasters, it's about creating a world where humanity and nature thrive together. This vision of harmony is achievable, but only if we rise to the challenge and embrace the responsibility that comes with it. The concept of environmental justice is gaining prominence as we recognize that the burdens of climate change and environmental degradation are not evenly distributed. Low-income communities and marginalized groups often bear the brunt of these disasters, despite contributing the least to the problem. Addressing this disparity is both a practical necessity and a moral obligation. Environmental justice is about ensuring that everyone, regardless of income, race, or geography, has access to clean air, water, and land. It's about holding corporations and governments accountable for actions that disproportionately harm vulnerable populations. Without justice, sustainability remains an elusive goal. California's wildfires highlight these inequities. Communities with fewer resources struggle to rebuild, while wealthier areas can often recover more quickly. This divide perpetuates cycles of poverty and marginalization, leaving the most vulnerable even more exposed to future crises. Addressing this requires systemic change and targeted policies that prioritize those in need. Faith-based organizations have long been advocates for justice, and their role in environmental justice is critical. The principles of loving one's neighbor and caring for creation are deeply intertwined. Churches and faith leaders can raise awareness, mobilize communities, and advocate for policies that protect the vulnerable while honoring God's creation. Education also plays a pivotal role in achieving environmental justice. Raising awareness about the disproportionate impact of environmental degradation can inspire collective action. Schools, communities, and media outlets must prioritize conversations around sustainability and equity to empower the next generation. Advocating for justice doesn't mean opposing development or progress. Rather, it's about ensuring that progress benefits everyone, not just a privileged few. Renewable energy projects, for instance, can create jobs while reducing emissions. Reforestation efforts can protect ecosystems while providing livelihoods for local communities. At its core, environmental justice is a call to compassion and action. It challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths and to act with empathy and determination. As stewards of the earth, we have a responsibility to ensure that its resources are shared equitably, protecting both people and the planet. This is not just a crisis of resources, it is a crisis of values. By embracing justice as a guiding principle, we can create a future where both humanity and nature thrive, united by a shared commitment to equity and sustainability. If this message is stirring something within you, a sense of urgency, a longing for hope, or a desire to make a difference, know this: you are not here by accident. This moment is an invitation, not just to watch, but to step into something greater. By subscribing to this channel, you're not just clicking a button, you're answering a higher call. You're joining a community of people committed to living with purpose, following the teachings of Jesus, and making a real impact in the world. When you subscribe, you're saying yes to being a light in the darkness, a voice of hope in a world that desperately needs it. Together, we can spread a message of love, faith, and responsibility, reaching hearts and transforming lives. So, if you feel that tug on your heart, don't ignore it. Take this simple step. Click subscribe as a way of saying, I'm ready to follow, to grow, and to make a difference. Let's walk this journey together, building a better tomorrow with faith as our guide. Your journey matters. Your faith matters. And your decision to subscribe could be the spark that ignites change, not just for you, but for everyone you share this with. Join us, and let's make this world a reflection of God's love. In the aftermath of disasters like wildfires, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scale of destruction. Yet, one of the most powerful forces for recovery is community. When people come together, sharing resources, offering support, and working toward a common goal, hope begins to rise from the ashes. Community efforts take many forms, from neighbors helping each other rebuild to churches opening their doors as shelters. These moments reveal the best of humanity: compassion, resilience, and a willingness to sacrifice for the good of others. They remind us that we are stronger together than we could ever be alone. In times of crisis, faith communities often take center stage. Guided by principles of love and service, they mobilize volunteers, distribute aid, and provide spiritual comfort to those in need. This is faith in action, an embodiment of Jesus' teaching in Matthew 25 verse 40, "Whatever you did for one of the least of these, you did for me." While community healing is powerful, it is not without challenges. Emotional wounds take time to heal, and rebuilding physical structures is just one part of the recovery process. Many survivors struggle with trauma, loss, and uncertainty about the future. This underscores the importance of long-term support and solidarity. Technology and social media have also transformed how communities respond to disasters. Crowdfunding campaigns, online support groups, and rapid information sharing enable more people to contribute, even from afar. These tools amplify the reach of compassion, creating a ripple effect of generosity and care. However, true healing requires more than temporary fixes. It involves addressing systemic issues, advocating for policies that reduce vulnerability, and ensuring that no one is left behind. It calls for a collective commitment to building communities that are not only resilient but also equitable and inclusive. At its core, the healing power of community reflects a deeper spiritual truth: we are designed for connection. In supporting each other, we fulfill a divine purpose, becoming vessels of God's love and instruments of His grace. Together, we can turn even the darkest moments into opportunities for growth and renewal. Faith is often described as an anchor in the storms of life, and in the context of disasters like wildfires, it becomes a lifeline for many. When everything seems lost, faith offers hope, perspective, and a sense of purpose that transcends the immediate crisis. For believers, Scripture provides reassurance that God is present even in the midst of suffering. Psalm 46 verse 1 declares, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble." These words are not merely comforting, they are a call to trust in God's sovereignty and to find peace in His promises. Faith also fosters resilience by encouraging gratitude and perspective. Instead of focusing solely on what has been lost, believers are reminded of what remains: life, love, and the potential for renewal. This shift in focus can transform despair into determination, empowering individuals to rebuild and move forward. Another key aspect of faith is the strength it provides through prayer. Whether seeking comfort, guidance, or provision, prayer connects believers to God and to each other. It is a reminder that they are not alone in their struggles and that divine help is always available. In the context of community, faith becomes a unifying force. Shared beliefs and values bring people together, creating a support network that extends beyond material aid. Through worship, fellowship, and acts of service, faith communities become beacons of hope and stability. However, faith is not just about comfort, it is also about action. James 2 verse 17 teaches that faith without works is dead. This means that believers are called to put their faith into practice by helping others, advocating for justice, and caring for creation. Resilience, therefore, is not only about enduring hardship but also about responding to it with compassion and courage. Ultimately, faith reminds us of a greater narrative, a story of redemption and renewal that extends beyond this life. It assures us that, no matter how dark the present may seem, the light of God's love will always prevail. In this truth, we find the strength to persevere and the hope to rebuild. The concept of stewardship is deeply rooted in Scripture, beginning with the creation story in Genesis. God entrusted humanity with the care of the earth, instructing us to work it and take care of it. Genesis 2 verse 15. This sacred duty calls us to act as responsible caretakers of the environment, preserving it for future generations. Unfortunately, humanity's track record as stewards has been far from perfect. The exploitation of natural resources, pollution, and deforestation have left the planet vulnerable to disasters like wildfires. These actions not only harm the environment but also reflect a failure to honor God's creation. Environmental stewardship is about more than conservation, it is about aligning our actions with God's will. By caring for the earth, we demonstrate gratitude for His gifts and obedience to His commands. This perspective transforms environmentalism from a political issue into a spiritual practice. Practical steps towards stewardship can take many forms. Reducing waste, conserving energy, and supporting sustainable practices are small but meaningful ways to make a difference. On a larger scale, advocating for policies that protect the environment and combat climate change is essential for long-term impact. Faith communities have a unique role in promoting environmental stewardship. Through education, advocacy, and example, they can inspire individuals to take action and foster a culture of responsibility. Many churches are already leading the way, implementing green initiatives and partnering with organizations dedicated to sustainability. Stewardship is also about accountability. We must recognize that our actions, or inactions, have consequences, and we are called to take responsibility for the impact we have on the planet. This means confronting uncomfortable truths and making sacrifices for the greater good. Ultimately, environmental stewardship is an act of worship. By caring for the earth, we honor its creator and fulfill our role as his representatives. This sacred duty is not only a privilege but also a profound opportunity to reflect God's love and creativity in our world. Despite the devastation caused by wildfires, nature has an incredible capacity for resilience. Forests regenerate, ecosystems adapt, and life finds a way to return, even in the harshest conditions. This natural cycle of destruction and renewal offers powerful lessons for humanity. Wildfires, while destructive, are also a natural part of many ecosystems. They clear dead vegetation, enrich the soil, and pave the way for new growth. This process, though painful, is a reminder that renewal often requires letting go of the old to make way for the new. For humanity, the resilience of nature serves as both an inspiration and a challenge. It shows us that recovery is possible, but it also calls us to examine how our actions contribute to or hinder this process. Are we working with nature, or against it? The concept of resilience is also deeply spiritual. Just as ecosystems recover from wildfires, our faith can be renewed through trials. James 1 verses 2-4 encourages believers to consider it pure joy when facing challenges, as these tests produce perseverance and strengthen character. Nature's resilience also underscores the interconnectedness of life. Every species plays a role in the ecosystem, contributing to its balance and health. This interdependence reminds us that our actions have far-reaching consequences and that we are part of a larger whole. Human resilience, like nature's, requires adaptation and perseverance. It involves finding strength in community, faith, and a shared commitment to rebuilding. Just as plants sprout from scorched earth, so too can hope emerge from tragedy. Ultimately, nature's resilience is a testament to God's design. It reflects his ability to bring beauty from ashes and to restore what has been lost. By embracing this lesson, we can find the courage to face challenges and the hope to rebuild a brighter future. The relationship between humanity and nature is not merely functional, it is deeply spiritual and interconnected. From the moment of creation, humanity was designed to live in harmony with the earth, entrusted with its care and preservation. Yet, as wildfires and other environmental crises remind us, this harmony has often been disrupted. Nature is not just a resource to be used, it is a reflection of God's creativity and provision. Psalm 24 verse 1 declares, "The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it." This verse serves as a reminder that we are caretakers, not owners, of creation. Our responsibility is to protect and nurture, ensuring its vitality for generations to come. The disruption of this balance has profound consequences, both for the environment and for humanity. The exploitation of resources, deforestation, and pollution are not isolated actions. They ripple through ecosystems, destabilizing the delicate balance that sustains life. Wildfires are just one manifestation of this imbalance. This interconnection also means that the health of the planet directly impacts human well-being. Clean air, water, and fertile soil are essential for life, yet they are increasingly threatened by environmental degradation. Addressing these challenges is not just about saving the planet, it is about protecting the future of humanity. Faith provides a framework for understanding this interdependence. Scriptures such as Romans 8 verses 19-21 speak of creation longing for liberation from decay, a poignant reminder of the spiritual dimensions of environmental care. When we harm the earth, we disrupt the divine order and miss the opportunity to honor God through stewardship. Communities are beginning to recognize this connection, leading initiatives to restore ecosystems, reduce waste, and promote sustainable practices. These efforts are not only practical but also deeply spiritual, reflecting a commitment to live in alignment with God's purpose for creation. The interconnection between humanity and nature is a powerful reminder of our shared destiny. As we care for the earth, we care for each other. By restoring balance, we fulfill our role as stewards and reflect God's love for all of creation. This is not just an environmental issue, it is a spiritual calling. Awareness of environmental issues is an important first step, but awareness alone is not enough. True change requires action, steps that address both the immediate crisis and the systemic issues that contribute to it. Advocacy plays a vital role in bridging the gap between understanding and impact. Advocacy begins with education. By learning about the causes and consequences of environmental challenges, individuals and communities can make informed decisions. This knowledge empowers people to take meaningful action, whether through personal choices or collective initiatives. One of the most effective ways to drive change is through policy. Laws and regulations that prioritize sustainability, reduce emissions, and protect natural resources can have a transformative impact. However, these policies require public support and accountability to succeed. Advocacy ensures that these priorities remain at the forefront of societal agendas. Faith communities have a unique role in advocacy. Grounded in principles of justice and stewardship, they can influence public opinion and inspire action. Through sermons, community projects, and partnerships with environmental organizations, churches can be powerful voices for change. Individual action is equally important. Small steps, such as reducing energy consumption, supporting local agriculture, and minimizing waste, can collectively make a significant difference. These actions demonstrate a commitment to living in alignment with one's values and inspire others to do the same. Advocacy is not without challenges. Resistance to change, economic interests, and misinformation can hinder progress. However, perseverance and unity can overcome these obstacles. The story of every successful movement for justice reminds us that change often begins with a few dedicated voices. Ultimately, advocacy is an expression of faith in action. It is a way of living out the biblical mandate to care for creation and to love our neighbors. By turning conviction into change, we fulfill our responsibility to both God and the world He has entrusted to us. Environmental stewardship is not only about the present, it is about the legacy we leave for future generations. The decisions we make today will shape the world that our children and grandchildren inherit. This responsibility is both a privilege and a profound moral obligation. Generational responsibility begins with recognizing the impact of our actions. Choices that prioritize convenience or profit at the expense of sustainability carry long-term consequences. Each act of neglect adds to the burden future generations will bear, while each act of care lightens that load. Scripture offers a powerful perspective on legacy. Proverbs 13 verse 22 states, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." This inheritance is not limited to material wealth. It includes the health of the environment, the stability of communities, and the values we pass down. Education is a cornerstone of generational responsibility. Teaching children about the importance of caring for the earth instills values that will guide their decisions. Schools, families, and faith communities all play a role in nurturing a sense of stewardship and inspiring young people to become advocates for change. Generational responsibility also involves investing in sustainable solutions. Renewable energy, reforestation projects, and conservation initiatives are ways to ensure that the earth remains habitable and abundant for future generations. These investments reflect a commitment to long-term well-being over short-term gain. The actions of today's generation set a precedent for the future. By demonstrating care, responsibility, and innovation, we inspire the next generation to continue the work of stewardship. Conversely, failing to act sends a message of indifference that can perpetuate harmful patterns. Faith provides a framework for embracing generational responsibility. It reminds us that we are part of a larger story, one that began long before us and will continue long after. This perspective encourages humility, gratitude, and a commitment to live in a way that honors both God and His creation. Leaving a legacy of stewardship is one of the greatest gifts we can offer. It reflects our love for God, our care for humanity, and our hope for the future. As we make decisions today, let us do so with an eye toward the generations to come, ensuring that they inherit a world that is not only livable but thriving. As we reflect on the lessons of these wildfires, one thing is clear: this is more than an environmental crisis, it is a spiritual calling. The flames have revealed the fragility of our world but also the strength of our faith, our communities, and our ability to rebuild. It's a reminder that we are not powerless. Together, we can make a difference. This journey doesn't end here. It begins with a decision, a step toward faith, hope, and action. If this message has touched your heart, let it move you to act. Inscribe yourself not just to this channel, but to a life of purpose. Follow Jesus, who calls us to love our neighbors, care for His creation, and walk as light in the darkness. By subscribing, you join a community united by faith and committed to being agents of change in a world that needs it more than ever. As you go forward, remember the call to be stewards of God's creation. Let the lessons we've explored inspire you to live intentionally, to care for the earth, support one another, and deepen your relationship with Christ. Together, we can turn this moment of devastation into a movement of renewal and hope. And now, let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Josue, and it is an honor to share this space with you. My greatest joy is walking this journey of faith alongside you, sharing reflections, exploring truths, and growing together as a community rooted in love and purpose. Thank you for being here, for opening your heart, and for stepping into this mission with me. Your engagement means more than you know, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, share this message with someone who needs it, and activate the notification bell to stay connected. As we part for now, let me leave you with this: no matter the challenges we face, God is with us. His love is the anchor that holds us steady, and together, we can shine His light in even the darkest of times. Stay strong, stay faithful, and know that you are deeply loved. Until next time, may God bless you abundantly. I'll see you in the next video.